Greetings, travelers, and welcome back to another episode of Development with Great Order on TolkienCraft 2. Now, to my right here, you'll see Jacques Mart. He is, as you can also see, a Dunedain Ranger. He is one of the many NPCs being added in the upcoming content release. He's going to be part of the quest chain that's being added. And we are actually here near Esgaroth as we progress along. And, you know, the building is about, I would say, 90-ish%. With the bulk of that 10% being primarily Thranduil's Hall, which is always a work in progress lately. And a smattering of bits and pieces that'll get added as I work on the my particular quest line and Tegan's as well, to kind of put in what's needed to kind of further along the quest or enhance the quest or what have you. Little things like the campsite here, a building or two there. Most of the stuff that's being done to existing regions is staying within the already generated areas, so they won't hopefully get any larger, though there are some areas that did get bigger for expansion, and the newer areas, of course, will increase the size of the overall map. But I thought, I've been showing you some building and some decorating, which you guys do a lot on your own, and I appreciate that you like that. Thank you guys for the comments that I've been seeing lately. But today, you're going to get to see some of the behind-the-scenes work. Not only are you going to watch me, and I'll try to remember to talk while I'm doing this, see me setting the dialogues and quests up as I go, but you're also going to get a chance to see the quests and decisions that go through the process while I'm doing it, little tweaks here or there. You'll get some of the mechanics behind CustomNPCs as you see me set these quests up to be what I want them to do. See me probably change my mind a million times as I'm working through these, and I'll even give you a sneak peek. Matter of fact, I'll give you a pause here, and when I come back, I will give you a sneak peek of how I determine the quests before I actually put them in the game. So, I'll be right back. Alright, welcome back. So, you'll see, and we'll show this just for a little bit, this is how I pre-plan everything that I do in the pack. Well, most everything. I make changes as I go along because then I realize in-game that maybe a description or a quest isn't going to necessarily work, or it's not going to work quite the way I intend, so I make changes there. But for the most part, this is the work I do. This is a Google Doc that is shared with Tegan75, who is the other person that helps me with this pack right now. And you can see as we scroll and go to different pages that, there's a total of 41 pages right now that we're working on. So, yes, quite a bit of work. And you can see over here, I can scroll through, you can see all the different headings, and not each one of these is a quest. Some of these are 2 or 3 quests with corresponding dialogues, because this is just the main heading, and then if there's 1, 2, 3, or however many quests there are, they'll be under that particular heading. But this is also the format I do to help me keep everything kind of organized when I'm adding these to custom NPCs, because the way I've set it up is the first one is always the dialogue for the NPC, and then a response. In these particular quests, there's just going to be the one, but sometimes I may have 2, maybe 3. They can have up to 6 choices. I think I've used that many on a couple of NPCs already in the pack, but then it just continues down the line with the different responses, and then of course the one that triggers the quest, that's the one I tag with quest and let myself know that it's closing dialogue. This is how I keep myself organized. So there's a little sneak, and even sneakier sneak peek behind the scenes. And let me get things set back up, and I'll be right back. Alright, we're back once again. So there you have, probably, other than the tutorial series, the first time you've ever actually seen the out-of-game work that I do for the quests. So I'm going to take a little brief pause right here because I got to kind of It's been an hour or two since I was here last. I was here early this morning, and then had to do some errands. Now I'm back. I got to kind of catch back up myself mentally where I was at before I left off. And then when I get back, you can just kind of watch what I do for setting up quests. And again, I will be right back. Alright, welcome back. So, if you've watched the tutorial series that I've done, you'll notice this looks very familiar. Right now, I was setting up the final bits for the dialogue for the next quest setup, and that gets to be annoying sometimes. And yes, this is the list of all the sections that have been created for TolkienCraft 2. And this is not even complete, because we have several that we're still adding right now. But you know, if you've ever looked in the background or the underlying part for this, then you'll know that there's a lot going on back here. And probably have seen some of this, although not as long, because some of these sections don't exist yet, haven't set this up. But this current section is this one. And if you remember paying attention to the Google Doc that I showed you, you'll know that I was coming down here and was on these. So the biggest thing, these are almost done, and this is what I mean by a little bit of dialogue work. But you can see I already have the availability set up. Now the purpose of this, and you'll see this in just a minute, because we need to add these dialogues to his dialogue availability. And that is this one here. So the first thing we're going to test is make sure that the dialogue comes up, which it doesn't. So which quest did I not finish? And this is why we do playtesting as I do it, and why I don't put them all in once and then try to fix it. I generally try to fix these as I go along. And he should have the Dark Riders 1. Let's find out why it's not working. Dark Riders 1. Availability should be after Dark Designs, which I believe I finished. I have to go back and look. And before Dark Riders 4, which is correct. So let's go take a look. Section 1, Dark Designs. Well, it shows finished. So, why is it not accepting that it is finished? That concerns me. Ah, that's right. I had already finished that. We were on... So, get rid of that one. We are... Okay. Alright, see, and this is why I tried to get myself back into where I was leaving off. Alright, so I had the wrong one. It's actually this one right here that needs to go in. So there should now be a dialogue. Yes. And yes, my mouse is still having issues. That's why you see that twice. Okay, so we need to go in here, and that tells me that I did not finish those dialogues off. So that would be this one. Make sure we have the availability. It should be... Okay, so this is the first one, so the quest should be after this Dark Designs, I believe it is. Let me go find out on the other page, and this is why I lay it out ahead of time. So it should be in the Black Rider's Wake. Okay, dialogue will be before the last one in the chain, and once we get confirmation that it's working, I will explain why we are doing it that way. So do that one there. Then we go here, dialogues. I'm going to call it Dale. Okay. Let's go back down here. And we have dialogue text. Okay, so we got to get the dialogues in. So that is right here. But this is why I also have the document to copy and paste from as I work. That way I don't have to retype 100 different things a bunch of times. Plus, if I see that I need to make some kind of change, then I can go in and make that on the document to copy and paste later. And I can work on it when I'm not in game. So you'll see here we're just basically linking one dialogue to the next. So that way it's more continuous as you go along. Next dialogue. And grab this. Now, for those of you that have been playing the pack for a minute, there's a reason why I use the colors I do, if it's not self-evident. White is just for general conversation. I use the specific color green in order to designate that that dialogue is going to grant a quest. The purple one that I tend to use is to signify that that is the last item in the chain, and that is officially, that's it, you're done, you're going to close the dialogue, go back and do it again. And I do that on purpose to kind of give a visual cue on where you're at in a dialogue. The other colors, major colors I use is a yellow color to designate if it's a shop. In other words, you click that link to go into the particular trade window of that NPC. And red will be used on closed dialogues that are not before the quest chain has finished. So it's kind of like a warning, like, hey, you're closing the dialogue, but you're not done. Is kind of the thought behind those colors. Now, I'll use other colors interspersed here or there for other purposes, but those are the main color schemes that I use and what the reason is. Go here. We're calling down one. Dialogue options. And we go here. And this is that purple color I was talking about. Done. And close. Now, if we go and add that, which it is, I should be able to right click, get to the next dialogue. Aha! Got the quest, that's good, but I was missing the dialogue, so I thought I'd finish those. See, you guys get to see what happens when I am not fully and entirely prepared or have brought myself up to speed. And we're also getting a little bit of game lag. So let's go back here. And that was the problem. That was this one here. Oh, that's right. I had stopped because I had to make some, again, you know, I told you I make changes. I had to make some changes to some of the text that I was going to use because of the location of the next NPC. So let's make sure that the availability is set on this. And that's going to be before this quest is done. And then what we do on that is we just go here. This is how I reset myself all the time. We will go back here. It's under section 1. Horn Call of Dale, delete. We'll go to dialogue data because I need the fourth one or third one removed. Each section, Horn Call of Dale 3. So that way I can now go back in. There we go. So we know that worked. And now it's gone, which is what it should be. And this is why. This is part of the reason why I set up the dialogue options the way I did at the beginning. Because then, this is something I've been trying new, and it seems to be working well. And I've been trying to make sure the dialogues are set up in a specific way while doing it. But one of the things that always bugged me, the benefit is I've learned a lot on custom NPCs as we've gone along, and it shows in the quality and the function of the quests as time has gone on. But rather than do a complete revamp, we just kind of patch meal up the beginning, and then just make sure going forward we're using what currently seems to be best practice. But one of the things that I'm doing now is once you've done that, it just goes back to the last dialogue. So you always know what needs to be done, but you're not going back through. And you'll see that using the multiple options of dialogues I had. I've got a couple NPCs already that are actually almost full, and if I do get to where they're full, I'm going to have to rethink my quest lines. Let's just put it that way. But we got that quest done. So we will head up to Dale. So I can show you what I'd already preset up on that, because I had to preset this one up in order to finish the text for the dialogue. So we'll go into Dale as it loads in. Anyway. I do actually end up planning on putting in a bunch of NPCs, not so much from custom NPCs, but from, well, the recent update to Lord of the Rings mod adds the Men of Dale. Now they may auto spawn here with the update. We have it, it's not on the dev server yet, so I don't know. And that update, if it's not out already by the time this video is released, should be out shortly after. But this is where I had to head up the house, and you saw that it completed up in the corner because I'd already set up the location for it, as well as the NPC that I need to interact with. And then we just go and we're done. So now I go through the same process again, setting up the dialogues, making sure it's right, going to the next step. And as I go, if there's a location I need, I build it or change the location in my description. And it's just, that's why I'm doing it in this process, so I don't lose track of where I'm going and what I want it to do. It also maintains, as you can see, the playtesting. That wasn't working, so I could go back, fix it, until I get to the next one, and then we repeat that process again. And then I can make sure it works, and then we continue on the chain. And that way I'm not only playtesting, but also working out bugs in the process and adjusting as we go. And then what will happen before we actually do a release, I will go through, scrub my entire player data for custom NPCs, and then play through everything start to finish. That way I can make sure that everything is working. I usually will play in survival. make sure that the NPCs react like they're supposed to when they're supposed to, and just go on from there. And then hopefully by the time it gets released, there's little or no bugs to the quest line when you guys go to play it. That's the plan. So I think that's going to be it for today. I do thank you guys for coming by. Really appreciate the comments lately and all the likes. So please don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and I can be reached on Facebook, Twitter, player.me, working out, maybe having an Instagram, don't know. Also, I have Patreon. If you guys like what I've been doing and want to help support me, that's a good place to do it. So thank you guys for coming by, and have a great day.